Happy Mother's Day. I'm Dr. Kimberly Johnson, and I wanted to talk to you about something that I have struggled with over the years, and it's called mommy guilt. And I wanted to talk to you because I know that I'm not the only one. I have had an opportunity to talk to many women over the years, and it seems like although we're different personalities, different backgrounds, um, different careers, whatever the case may be. But one of the things that seems to be common is mommy guilt. And you might say, what in the world is mommy guilt? So let's break it down for a few minutes. First of all, let's talk about guilt. Guilt is that self conscious emotion that you have that's negative, a negative evaluation of yourself, a feeling of distress, a feeling of failure. And so many mothers have this. They have this negative view of themselves as mothers because for some reason they felt like they have not hit the mark. Many women are walking around in distress because they feel like they are not hitting the mark and they're not living up to their image of being a mother. So why? Why do we feel this? Why do so many women walk around with this guilt on their shoulders? I know I've walked around with it. I have cried. I've sat there and tried to talk to my husband about it. But this guilt that I'm not measuring up. I'm not the mother that I want to be. So let's talk about this for a few minutes. Why do so many women have mommy guilt? The first one is unrealistic expectations. Yeah, unrealistic. There is a lot that needs to be done. If you're a wife, a mother, you have a career, you have parents that are maybe aging, you're a sibling, you're this, you're that. There's so much that needs to be done. I can't tell you how many times I've made a to-do list and my to-do list needed a to-do list. It was just over the top. There's so much that has to be done, but you don't have to do it all at once. So unrealistic expectations. I remember when early on in my marriage, I was beating myself up. New mom, working on my degree, working professional, and then I was trying to clean the house and do all these things. And one day I hit a wall. And I remember breaking down and I talked to my husband. And he was like, "Yeah, I was waiting for you to realize that this was just not realistic and waiting for you to say, I need some help." But he knew, and you might say, well, he could have just offered, he knew I wouldn't have accepted it because I had an image in my mind of what a quality mother was and what a quality wife was. So, unrealistic expectations. Do you have unrealistic expectations? Are you expecting things of yourself that is just not realistic? It's not realistic for anybody to expect that they can do all of those things and be a healthy mentally, physically, and emotionally. The second one is a sense of inadequacy. A sense of inadequacy. So many women are walking around feeling like they don't measure up. The image of what a mother is in their head, they feel like they don't measure up to it. They feel like they don't. I remember my oldest son is 16 now. I remember this image of a mother that I had in my head. My mom, excellent mother. And one of her strengths, I mean, we always had dinner, right? I mean, she wasn't running to pick anything up. It wasn't fast food. She cooked. And when I tell you you had dinner, you were going to be sitting down eating no later than 6:30, the absolute latest. And I remember once I got married and I had my own family and I worked, I tried to replicate that in my life. I mean, my mother, she had a schedule. You were going to be eating by 6:30. I remember we got up, she cleaned the house on Saturday morning. I mean, I could run our house like a clock, my mother's home like a clock. And I tried that. It it didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. So I felt about this big. And then not only that, but my grandmother, I mean, was excellent cook, and she provided these wonderful. If you've ever seen soul food, those wonderful meals, and I tried that. It didn't work for me. And I didn't feel too good about myself. But I began to realize that, hey, you know what? It's this sense of inadequacy. Who said that in order for me to be a good mother, I had to be that, I had to live up to that particular image? The other thing that kind of goes along with what I just said is comparisons. Looking at other mothers and judging your performance on what they do. Now, we all talk about, we tell our children not to compare themselves. We all know, don't compare yourself to somebody else. But ladies, we compare ourselves. We compare ourselves to the mom who seems to have, she cooks, her home seems to be together. Oh, this particular mom, they don't do, she doesn't have, video games and things like that in her household. I was talking to one lady one time. She's like, we have minimal screen time. We don't do screen time in our home. And I was like, oh, okay. We don't do screen time. And somebody else, we're always outside and we do these kind of activities. And I was like, wow, because we do screen time at my house. And I'm not saying we're not active, but we're not necessarily hiking. And then I was talking to one other mother and they were talking about how easy it was to make all these wholesome meals. And she was a soccer mom too. And she's like, I pack it and you pack it this way. And we have fresh fruit out at the soccer field and hummus and this. And I'm like, oh, it stressed me just listening to this meals that she packed for her family going out onto the soccer field. But I had to realize that, hey, why are we comparing? We tell our kids not to compare themselves, but we as mothers, we compare ourselves. We compare ourselves to other people and we don't know the dynamics of their lives. We don't know what kind of help and assistance they have. We don't know what they're graced to do. So stop comparing. So how do you overcome mommy guilt? How do you overcome having unrealistic expectations? How do you overcome comparing yourself? The first thing I learned, one of my colleagues many years ago was a mother of three, just like I'm a mother of three, working professional. We both have our doctorate degrees. Both were in administration. And she said something that I have remembered all of these years. She said, I had to get to the point where I had to redefine what being a good mother looks like in my household. I said, what? You can redefine it? She said, I had to redefine it. And the light bulb went off for me. See, you don't have to live up to somebody else's definition. I had to redefine what a good mother looks like in my household. So, do I do nutritious meals? Yeah. Do I sometimes, those nutritious meals, I pick them up from somebody else who obviously loves to enjoy and cook, whether it's at Publix or DoorDash or whatever? I do. Is my home orderly and clean? Yeah. But I've grown to learn that getting assistance isn't a problem or an issue. So I had to redefine what that looked like. I had to redefine and recognize that for me, it wasn't just the quantity of time, it was the quality. So, yes, I was working on some additional things, a career, working on ministry things with my spouse, doing different things, but I made sure and I made a commitment to spend quality time with my kids. I made sure that the time that we came together was quality. I made sure that the time that we came together, we built memories. They already look forward to the birthday table that I put out for birthday time. I'll give you a story. My oldest son, when he turned 16, we were getting ready for his 16th birthday. And I was thinking, he's getting too old. He don't want that anymore. So I wasn't going to do it. Of course, he's going to get a gift and we're going to have fun. And I mentioned that to my husband, and my husband mentioned that to my son. And my husband said, you should have saw his face. He almost broke down in tears. Now, here he is about to turn 16 years old because he so looked forward to it because it was a memory. I worked on building quality time and memories. What's the other thing of overcoming mommy guilt? You have to recognize that nobody has 100%. Nobody has 100%. You have to be able to tap into the grace of God and ask God to grace you in the areas that are not your strength. to grace you, to give you wisdom, to give you guidance, to show you how to do those things that need to be done. And I can tell you over the years, the things that I toiled about and I stressed about, God, when I learned that concept of saying, God, give me grace, give me wisdom, show me how to bring it together. God, when I tell you God has done that for me, give me wisdom, give me favor. He has opened up doors of opportunity. I found out, y'all, I'm going to be honest with you. I found out that there's some people that enjoy to do laundry. There was a lady that I met. We had known each other for many, many years. And she wasn't able to engage fully in the workforce because she had a child that she had to take care of at home that was disabled. And she was talking one day. She said, I love to do laundry. She said, it's like therapy for me. I said, shut your mouth. It is. And she was looking for some ways to make extra money. And do you know, for a season when she lived in the area, she was able to do laundry for my household. And it wasn't as expensive as you might think it is. And it gave me peace. So I asked God to give me grace. Help me in those areas that I wasn't strong in. The other point was I asked God to give me wisdom and to give me favor. And I recognize that things have to be done. We have responsibilities. But just because it has to be done doesn't mean that you have to do it all by yourself. So I just wanted to share those nuggets with you because I've talked to so many women and I can feel their pain. I can see them looking around and seeing what others do. I've even had some women tell me, oh, Pastor Kim, oh, you do. I said, no, 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 don't compare. Everybody has their strengths. I'll tell you one of my, I hate to call it a weakness. But for example, I don't mind cooking, but I don't like to cook under pressure. And even before I had kids, it's something about working all day and coming home and cooking that stresses me. I don't like it. I like to cook in batches. I cook over the weekend. I cook big meals over the holiday. But a day-to-day cooking, it just doesn't work well for me. So I had to find other ways to work around that. I told my husband, I said, hey, I cook in batches. I do this way. But what am I saying? Don't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself. There was one young lady I was talking to. She was gifted with, she make her kids outfits and make their birthday cakes. I could make a birthday cake, the box one, but her stuff was the good stuff. You know, well, she had went to the bakery shop and she could do the little flowers in the look, no. You need to define what being a good mother looks like in your household and for your family and for this season in your life. The biggest thing that you should be concerned about is making sure that you're giving your family, your kids, what they need. And you know one thing that they need? They need a mother that is mentally, physically, and emotionally healthy and strong. And so I just wanted to share that with you. I'm wishing each of you a happy Mother's Day. You are amazing. Sometimes we miss the mark, but who doesn't? Take it, be a little bit easier on yourself, a little bit more gentle. Your children are going to be blessed. They're going to be fine. You pour into their lives and you can sit back and rest knowing that you've done what you need to do. Guys, I just want to say happy Mother's Day. Get rid of the mommy guilt. Be all that God has called you to be. And you have a blessed day.